I was sitting in the passenger seat of my business partner's truck when he asked me not to react to what he was about to say. That's when I found out my wife hadn't just been lying to me. She'd been negotiating behind my back. And in that moment, I realized my marriage wasn't the only thing at risk. My name is Mark. I'm 45 years old. I own a small commercial construction company in Ohio. I've always been steady, quiet, the kind of man who believes in contracts, handshakes, and showing up early. I don't gamble. I don't cheat. I build things that last. I've been married to my wife, Dana, for 16 years. And until a few months ago, I would have told you I trusted her more than anyone alive. Dana handled the books for my company. It made sense. She has a finance degree. She's organized, detail-oriented. For years, I told people I was lucky. She keeps me in line. I'd joke at barbecues. She'd smile and squeeze my arm like we were a team. We looked solid from the outside. We don't have kids. Not by accident. We tried in our 30s. It didn't work out. That loss pulled us closer, or at least I thought it did. We poured everything into the business instead. It grew fast. Bigger contracts, bigger risks, more moving parts. That's where Eric comes in. Eric has been my business partner for 8 years. We met on a warehouse remodel job. He's louder than me, flashier, the kind of guy who slaps your back too hard and orders top shelf without looking at the price. But he's good with clients. And for a long time, I trusted him too. 3 months ago, my truck was in the shop. Transmission issues. Dana usually drives separately, and Eric offered to swing by and pick me up for a meeting across town. Hop in, he said that morning, grinning like always. You finally gonna let someone else drive for once? I laughed, climbed into the passenger seat. We'd barely pulled out of my driveway when he went quiet. That should have been my first clue. Eric is never quiet. He kept tapping the steering wheel, glancing at me, then back at the road. You ever get the feeling, he started, voice tight, that you don't really know what's going on in your own house? I frowned. What's that supposed to mean? He hesitated, long enough to make my chest feel heavy. Mark, he said, not looking at me. If I tell you something, you can't react in this car. The way he said it, careful, almost scared, made my stomach drop. I stared out the windshield, suddenly aware of how fast we were moving. Just say it, I told him. He exhaled hard. And then he did. Eric kept his eyes on the road. You deserve to hear it from someone who isn't trying to spin it, he said. I didn't plan to get in the middle of this. My throat felt dry. Middle of what? He tightened his grip on the steering wheel. I saw Dana, he said quietly. Last Thursday. At the Marriott off Route 9. I felt my heartbeat in my ears. For a conference? I asked automatically. Because that's what she'd told me. Finance seminar. 2 nights. Eric shook his head. She wasn't alone. The car felt smaller, like the air had been sucked out of it. Who? I asked. He hesitated again, and that hesitation told me everything before he even said it. Greg, my biggest competitor. The guy who'd been underbidding us for a year. The same man I'd been fighting for a hospital renovation contract worth almost $2 million. I stared at Eric, waiting for him to laugh, to say it was a misunderstanding. She was in the lobby bar, he continued. They weren't arguing business. They were close, hand on her back, whispering. I watched them get into the elevator together. I didn't speak. I couldn't. Eric glanced at me. I didn't say anything at first. Thought maybe I was wrong. But then yesterday, Greg pulls his bid on the hospital job. Just pulls it. No explanation. The hospital job we suddenly won by default. My stomach dropped. You think, I started. I think, Eric cut in, that maybe your wife's been negotiating more than spreadsheets. The words landed slow, heavy. I replayed the last few months in my head. Dana working late. Passwords changed on the accounting software. Telling me not to stress about bids because things will work out. Things had worked out. Too well. You're saying she fed him numbers, I said quietly. I'm saying, Eric replied, jaw tight. Greg doesn't walk away from money unless he's getting something better. Silence filled the car again. I felt cold. Not angry yet. Just cold. Why tell me now? I asked. Eric swallowed. Because if this blows up and you didn't know, it takes the company down with it. I'm not losing everything because of something happening in your bedroom. That stung more than it should have. We pulled into the meeting parking lot, but neither of us moved. I stared at the windshield, at my reflection faint in the glass. For 16 years, I had trusted Dana with my heart, with my money, with my business. And suddenly, None of it felt solid anymore. Don't do anything stupid today, Eric said quietly. Think. I nodded. But as I stepped out of that car, I already knew one thing. When I got home that night, I wasn't going to ask her gently. I was going to ask her once. And I wasn't sure I was ready for the answer. I didn't go to the meeting. I sat in my truck for 20 minutes after Eric went inside, just staring at my phone. Dana had texted me earlier that morning. Don't forget dinner with the Millers Friday. Wear the gray suit. Love you. Love you. I drove home instead. The house was quiet when I walked in. Too quiet for 11 in the morning. Dana was supposed to be working from home. I found her in the kitchen. Laptop open. Coffee half finished. She looked up and smiled like nothing in the world was wrong. You're back early, she said. Meeting get canceled? I studied her face. Every line I thought I knew. We need to talk, I said. She froze for just a second. It was small, but I saw it. Okay, she replied carefully. About what? I stepped closer to the island. The Marriott. Her expression didn't change, and that scared me more than if she'd panicked. What about it? She asked. Last Thursday. Who were you with? Silence. She closed her laptop slowly. Too calmly. You followed me, she said. That was her first move. Not denial. Not confusion. Accusation. I didn't follow you, I replied. Answer the question. Her jaw tightened. I had a meeting. With Greg? I asked. There it was. A flicker in her eyes. Annoyance. Not guilt. Yes, she said finally. With Greg. The word yes hit harder than I expected. For what? I asked. She sighed like I was being unreasonable. Mark, this is exactly why I didn't tell you. You get territorial. It was a business conversation. In a hotel elevator? Her eyes went cold. You don't own me, she said quietly. The room felt like it shifted. Did you give him our numbers? I asked. She didn't answer. That silence was loud. Dana, I said, my voice lower now. Did you give him our numbers? I was protecting us, she snapped suddenly. You were underbidding too aggressively. If Greg pushed, we could have lost everything. So you slept with him? The words tasted bitter. She flinched this time. I didn't say that. But you didn't deny it. Her breathing changed. Shallow. It's not that simple, she said. That was enough. I leaned back against the counter, feeling something inside me go still. Like a switch flipping. How long? I asked. She looked down at the floor. A few months. Months. While we ate dinner together. While we sat on the couch watching TV. While she handled payroll. Did you love him? I asked. I don't know why that mattered, but it did. She hesitated. I don't know, she whispered. That hurt more than yes. The kitchen felt smaller. Like I couldn't stand upright in it anymore. I did this for us, she said quickly. You don't understand the pressure I've been under. Keeping this company afloat while you focus on the field work. For us, I repeated quietly. She stepped toward me. Mark, we can fix this. It doesn't have to destroy everything. No one knows. Greg pulled out of the contract. We're in the clear. In the clear. I looked at the woman I'd trusted with my life. You're worried about the contract? I asked. She blinked. What? I'm talking about my marriage. She crossed her arms. Defensive now. It's complicated. No, I said softly. It's actually not. She stared at me, searching my face for something. Anger. Tears. A crack. But I didn't feel loud. I felt finished. You're not leaving, are you? She asked suddenly. And for the first time, there was fear in her voice. I didn't answer right away. Instead, I walked past her. Down the hallway. Into my office. I opened the filing cabinet where I kept the original partnership agreement. And I realized something that made my stomach drop even further. Dana had full signing authority. On everything. And for the first time that day, the betrayal felt bigger than just my marriage. It felt strategic. And I had a very bad feeling I was only seeing the surface of it. I stayed in my office for an hour after that. Just reading. Signature rights. Transfer clauses. Emergency authority if one partner was unavailable. Dana had insisted on those changes 3 years ago. Said it was smart planning. Said if something ever happened to me, she needed to keep payroll moving. At the time, it sounded responsible. Now it felt rehearsed. I walked back into the kitchen. She was sitting at the table, staring at nothing. We need to review the accounts, I said. Her head snapped up. Why? Because I'm asking. That calm tone in my voice surprised even me. She hesitated, then nodded slowly. Okay. We sat side by side at her laptop. For 16 years, this was normal. Us looking at spreadsheets. Planning. Forecasting. Except now I wasn't looking at growth. I was looking for leaks. Vendor payments looked normal. Payroll fine. But then I saw it. A consulting fee. $45,000. 3 separate transfers over the past 4 months. To a shell LLC I didn't recognize. What's this? I asked. She didn't answer right away. Dana. It was strategic, she said quietly. Strategic how? It kept Greg cooperative. There it was. Not just an affair. Not just pillow talk. Money. Company money. You paid him, I said slowly. It's how negotiations work sometimes. You bribed my competitor. I protected our margins, she shot back. With our money? My voice stayed low. That seemed to bother her more than yelling would have. She stood up. You think you're so ethical, Mark. But you don't see the bigger picture. Men like Greg don't play fair. And now neither do we? I asked. She didn't respond. I leaned back in my chair. Did Eric know? She asked suddenly. So that was it. She was calculating exposure. He knows enough? I said. Her face paled. Mark, if this turns into an investigation. It won't, I interrupted. Because I'm not going to let it. She blinked. Confused. I closed the laptop gently. You're resigning from the company, I said. What? Effective immediately. You can't just. I can. And I am. Her breathing got faster. Mark, think about what that looks like. Clients will ask questions. I'll handle the clients. And what about us? She demanded. I looked at her for a long time. There hasn't been an us in months, I said quietly. She shook her head. You're overreacting. That word again. No, I replied. I'm responding. Silence stretched between us. You'll regret this, she said finally. Not angry. Not sad. Just cold. Maybe she believed that. Maybe she thought I'd cool down. Like my parents always told me when I was younger. But I wasn't cooling down. I was stepping back. I'll have papers drafted, I said. Divorce. And removal from financial authority. Her face changed then. Not heartbreak. Fear. You'd destroy everything we built? She whispered. I held her gaze. No, I said calmly. You already did. I walked out of the house that night with a small overnight bag. Not because I was emotional, but because I needed space to think clearly. As I drove away, I looked in the rearview mirror at the house we'd shared for 16 years. And for the first time, it didn't look like home. It looked like a transaction. And something told me Dana wasn't done negotiating yet. I didn't go back home. I checked into a long-stay hotel near the highway. Neutral walls. No memories. Just a bed and a desk. I called my attorney the next morning. His name's Russell. Older guy. Straight shooter. I need this quiet, I told him. He nodded. Was there money moved? Yes. Improperly? Yes. He didn't ask about feelings. I appreciated that. Within a week, Dana was officially removed from company authority. Access revoked. Passwords changed. Russell sent formal notice to Greg's firm about potential disclosure violations. Not a threat, just enough to make everyone nervous. Eric and I had a long talk in my office. You sure you want to go nuclear? He asked. I'm not going nuclear, I said. I'm sealing cracks. He watched me carefully. You're different. Yeah, I replied. I know. Dana tried calling the first few days. Then texting. We can fix this. Don't let anger ruin us. You're being manipulated by Eric. I didn't respond. What was there to say? The divorce papers were served quietly. No public drama. No social media statements. She moved into a condo across town. 2 months later, I learned Greg had quietly exited the region. Reputation damage travels fast in our industry. As for the company, it stabilized. Clients respect control. They don't care about your marriage. They care about deliverables. One evening, about 3 months after I left the house, Dana asked to meet. Neutral place. Coffee shop. She looked smaller somehow. Not physically. Just less certain. You really won't reconsider? She asked softly. I stirred my coffee. What exactly would I be reconsidering? I asked. She blinked. 16 years. I nodded slowly. 16 years where I thought we were aligned. Tears filled her eyes. I never meant to hurt you. I believe you, I said. That surprised her. You didn't mean to, I continued. You just chose to. She looked down. I thought I was being smart, she whispered. Protecting what we built. You protected leverage, I replied. Not us. Silence sat between us. She reached across the table like she wanted to touch my hand, then stopped herself. I was scared of losing everything, she admitted. I gave a small nod. And that fear cost you everything, I said gently. I wasn't angry anymore. That's the part she didn't understand. Anger is loud. It fights. Calm is final. When I stood to leave, she asked one last question. Did you ever love me? I paused. Yes, I said honestly. I just loved who I thought you were. I walked out into the evening air feeling something I hadn't felt in months. Not revenge. Not victory. Clarity. I trusted my wife for 16 years. One car ride with my business partner shattered that illusion. But it also did something else. It forced me to see what was built on truth and what was built on convenience. The company survived. I survived. And for the first time in a long time, I wasn't building something with someone else's hidden agenda. I was building it alone. And this time, I was reading every line before I signed.